Hi friends, and welcome back to Gardening Suburbia. My name is Amanda and I'm a gardener homesteader here in Cincinnati, Ohio, Zone 6. It is December 14th, just about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to be planting my garlic. So typically in the past 3 or so years, I've been planting my garlic in October because that is when people say to plant garlic. But this year, my sister mentioned to me offhandedly that a neighbor of hers that talked to a farmer, the farmer had told her that for their area, they plant their garlic in November, December, which I thought was an interesting thought because a majority of the time when I plant my garlic, it will sprout before the cold, hard freeze comes. So basically that garlic is using that extra energy to put out sprouts that therefore just get killed back by the hard freeze. And it's just kind of a waste of energy on the garlic's part. So I have been kind of fumbling around with when I was going to get my garlic in the ground. We have 2 to 3 days of some warmer weather. We did have a light dusting of some snow in this bed. You can kind of see some remnants of that. And the ground has been crunchy, so super solid. And today, since it's a little bit warmer, the ground is soft, and the bed that I'm going to be planting my garlic in, the soil is not crispy crunchy. So today I think is the day that I'm gonna get my garlic planted. I am planting in this same bed that I planted my garlic in last season. I'm not too worried about that. I will be fertilizing my garlic before planting, as well as making sure that I am fertilizing as the garlic begins to grow in the spring. First things first is we need to head up to my office and we need to check out the garlic that I had purchased from a family-owned garlic farm in my area. They're from Yellow Spring. It's Mad River Garlic Growers. They were so incredibly kind to help me determine some of the varieties that I wanted to grow this season. I did post that initial video. It's been a little bit since I posted that video. I'll go ahead and link it up here. But let's go upstairs and check out the garlic. I was super lazy this year, I will admit. I did not treat my garlic kindly. So the garlic that is upstairs is not in the best shape, but that is not on part of the company that I purchased from. That is on, it's all me. I got a little overwhelmed with the holiday season, and just is what it is. So let's head upstairs and check out that garlic. We are in the office. I've got 5 different bags of garlic. You guys were with me when I picked out my garlic. I went ahead and I've already given the other batch of garlic to my sister. She, I think, is also planting her garlic today. I guess we both decided to experiment a little this year. I do have some backup garlic if this harvest does not go well. So last season I had a bunch of garlic that ended up being infested with worms. I went through and individually checked out all of the different bulbs as well as cloves, and separated what was still good versus what was not. Everything that was good, I ended up making into garlic pucks, just basically mincing all of that garlic and then using, I think it's like 1.5 tablespoons, a scoop, that's 1.5 tablespoons, and scooping those out onto parchment paper and then freezing them, taking those frozen discs of garlic and then putting them in little sandwich baggies and then into a large 2-gallon size baggie, and then stuffing that in my freezer. And I've just been using that throughout the season, and I still have quite a bit. So I won't be without garlic, but I will be, my heart will be a little sad if this doesn't work out. This is kind of an experiment just because typically you are said to do it in October. From previous times that I've made videos about garlic, it is said to make sure that you have about 6 weeks before a hard ground freeze. Ground freeze happens typically with about a week of really cold temps below freezing. We have been having some really cold weather. So we'll see how this ends up playing out. Obviously, if the garlic doesn't end up sprouting in the spring, we'll get some kind of notion of how that ends up going. But I'm going to experiment. I like kind of playing around with the boundaries of how you can garden. So don't exactly follow what I am doing this year. Most of you have probably already planted garlic if you've or planning on doing so. So we just need to go through now and make sure that all of the garlic that I have is good. So first we have the Carpathian. This is a ½ pound. And I am going to try to keep these guys separate simply because I want to kind of plant them in sections that I know what they are. So I'll keep them with the bags and try to sterilize and fertilize separately. We'll see how that works out because there's a bunch of them. So first off, the first thing that I've noticed is that my garlic seems to be a little squishy. If I take them apart, I don't know if they're just releasing from the papers and that's why they feel like a little smaller than they should. I think that's what that is. They're just drying out a little bit more, at least for these ones. I'm gonna have garlic paper everywhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and just separate all of these cloves and put them back into the bag. This is a hardneck variety. You can kind of tell because it'll have that stem. So what we'll do, pop those guys back in there. I'm gonna make this entire room smell like garlic. These cloves are really nice and large, which is great because the size of your garlic is equal to that of the clove that you plant. So this one has a really small clove. This guy will be tiny, whereas this one will be a good size head. Get my fingers to work. Head of garlic. Yeah, I think that these are all good. I'm excited. Okay. I was really worried, but I think at least for this variety, we have a good amount that is all right. They're just a little bit more dried out than they should be. I did not take these out of the brown paper bags or the box. And typically when you get garlic in the mail, the person or place that you buy your garlic from will recommend that you take the garlic out of the bag and give it some good air, but still keep it in a place that is dark and cool. I had it in a place that was dark and cool. It's just, it did not have a lot of airflow. Got a super tiny one there. The next variety is my Bogota. It is a ½ pound. Kind of has a beautiful red tinge to it, and it is also a hardneck variety. I'm super excited. These guys, some of these feel soft. These look really good. I'm excited for these guys. This is the Leningrad, and I got a pound. They give a little bit extra when it's a pound, just because it's kind of hard to get around. Look how matte. These are not elephant garlic. This is garlic. The company that I bought from does not sell elephant garlic because it's not a true garlic variety. It's actually considered a leek. But these guys were the largest variety that they had, and you can just tell already that they're massive. And I think that none of these feel bad, so I'm super excited to get these guys in the ground. And these ones are a hard neck variety as well. Look at that clove. That is massive. That one's massive. That one's like double the other one. Oh my gosh. These guys are going to be so incredible to cook with. So I'm not taking off all of the paper so that the ball or the clove is exposed. At least not trying to. Sometimes it gets ripped. But I am leaving the outer skin on it. Sometimes it accidentally gets taken off, but for the most part. All right, just so you guys can see a size comparison. All right, this is one of the larger cloves from the Bogota, and this is one of the smaller of the Leningrad. Look how insane. Even the smaller of the Leningrad is still bigger than the biggest size of the Bogota. That's crazy. I'm so excited. All right, see how it got a little ripped? That's okay. As long as the garlic itself is not damaged, moldy, cut, it'll be fine. You just don't want the bottom roots, this part where the roots will grow from, to be cut off, because otherwise it won't grow. Next one, we have some Romanian red. This is a ½ pound. And this one looks to be another hard neck. I don't know if I got any that were soft neck varieties, just because the hard necks are supposed to do better for my area. That's a double clove. Those all look good. So you can kind of hear that the paper is really loose on these, but I think that they'll be fine. I'm not going to grow anything if I throw these away. Definitely can at least try to grow something if I plant them. All right. Got some Romanian reds. I'm glad I didn't throw these away right away because I almost did. I thought that maybe they were gonna all be bad. Alright, last but not least, we have some Islam, and I got a pound of this. This looks to be another of the hard neck. This is one that I for sure had some damage on. You can see I already threw away some of this bulb. And then I remembered I should probably show you guys what's going on. So like, this is a clove that is definitely not good to plant. This is damaged, it's moldy. This is not gonna get planted. You can kind of see some damage on this guy. This one is shriveled, so that's not getting planted. This one has some okay ones. That's not good. This one looks great. And this one feels like it could be multiple tiny cloves. I'm gonna keep this as one and just see what happens. That one looks good too. Okay, so got some damaged cloves. And get those guys off the table. These cloves are definitely smaller than our other varieties. That is perfectly okay. They look beautiful. Keep on peeling. Alright, surprisingly, I only had a couple cloves from this that were not good. So we've got 5, 6, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 47 plants. That guy, I'm gonna mark these. I think it'd be interesting to know. So I had to go grab my, it says recipes. It is my binder of everything. So I do add in some personal notes, some different blog posts that I've found, different little pamphlets I've picked up along the way, and canning recipes, sourdough recipes, just random soup dinners, freezer dinners. The thing I was looking for in this binder was my notes on sterilizing and fertilizing. So I like to sterilize and fertilize my garlic before planting. This is not a step that you necessarily have to take. It is kind of a preventative thing, because even with, especially if you're not buying certified seed garlic, which mine is, sometimes if you buy garlic from the grocery store or what have you, that garlic can be sprayed with things. It could have trace bacteria or pests from wherever it was grown. So you can go ahead and sterilize it, and just kind of make sure that you're not cross-contaminating your soil with soil from elsewhere. So when you're sterilizing, you can use anything from isopropyl alcohol, vodka, which I'm going to be using today. It's Everclear. I don't drink this stuff. This stuff is extremely strong, but it is perfect for sterilizing as well as making tinctures. So that's what I'm going to be using today. And you can also use hydrogen peroxide. Make sure that if you are using hydrogen peroxide, that it is a newer bottle or it hasn't gone bad. Hydrogen peroxide, the chemicals will break down, and basically it'll lose its strength over time and essentially just become water, especially if it's been opened and left out for an extended period. So I'm going to get these guys in bowls. Luckily I have 5 of these guys. I'm just going to keep them separated so that I don't get them mixed up, just because I want to be able to tell the difference of these garlics when I do harvest. That way I can kind of determine what worked for me, what didn't work, what had really good flavor, what was easy to cook with, and that kind of thing. So I've got 5 bowls. I'm going to get those filled with water. And then we're going to add a good dollop of our not isopropyl alcohol, but our Everclear. And we're going to let those guys sterilize for about 10 minutes. We've got 5 bowls of water. I'm going to add probably about, let's say, a 1/4 cup of Everclear to each of these. Everclear is kind of a cheaper option. This is really just all I had. So let's see what we got here. So we're going to start with the Romanian red. Just gonna drop those guys in there and keep the bag kind of underneath of them. Do some Bogatar. Again, place that bag next to that. Carpathian. That's just a wrapper. Leningrad. Last but not least, our Inching. So now we'll just go ahead and set a 10-minute timer and let these guys soak in, get nice and fertilized, which I'm sure they're all good right now, but these will kind of, the water's going to give them a little bit more life, just because they were so dry. So we'll see what happens with these guys. Okay, it has been 10 minutes now. These guys are done being sterilized. I'm just gonna go ahead and dump the water, and then we'll get these filled up with some more water and then add in some fertilizer. So for my fertilizer, I am gonna be using kelp meal. This is what I've used the past few years, and I feel like it's been really, has done good for me. You guys can really use any type of fertilizer, so fish emulsion, kelp meal, or fertilizer blend. You want to make sure that you follow the directions of whatever fertilizer you do end up using. All right, so the box says to add in approximately 1 to 2 tablespoons per gallon of soil. I'm thinking I'm gonna do about a teaspoon to about 2 teaspoons per container here. Now, this stuff is kind of stinky. I'm not going to use my measuring spoons that I cook with. I'm just going to kind of eyeball this and see how that goes. Reseal this guy. Essentially, the fertilizer can stay on these cloves for anywhere between 30 minutes and 3 days. The longer you let your fertilizer soak into those cloves, the more likely they are to grow roots. So I am actually going to hold off on planting these today because it is already, we're closing in on 5 o'clock and quite honestly, it gets dark at like 4:30. So I'm gonna wait until tomorrow and get these guys planted before football. So these guys are gonna soak. I'm gonna put these in a place where my cats cannot reach them because they will most likely go to mess some things up. I'm gonna get it mixed in and then put them up where the cats can't reach them. So I will see you guys tomorrow. We're gonna go ahead and plant the Bogota first with root side down, pointy bit up. Garlic is a long season crop that really needs anywhere from 180 to about 210 days to maturity from planting to harvest.
So most varieties need vernalization or cold stratification. This is really just the process of being overwintered to really form individual cloves. So depending on where you live, you will plant your seed garlic at different times of the year, but always aiming to plant a few weeks prior to ground freeze. Ground freeze occurs when there have been multiple days in a row that are below freezing, and this just allows for the plants to mature and root, becoming established before that freeze. I planted my garlic on December 16th, so I really gambled with this, but because I hadn't gotten around to planting my garlic, if I hadn't done so now, they would have just been tossed. So why not give this a try? I did leave my seed garlic in that fertilizer soak for about 24 hours, and that was more than enough time for my seed garlic to actually produce roots. And so I'm hoping that this gives my plants a little more of a leg up with me planting so late in the season. When planting your seed garlic, you really want to make sure that you're planting them about 4 to 6 inches deep with about 4 to 6 inches of radius. You want to give your plants a good spacing around so that there's more space for them to grow as well as more nutrients to pull from. You are going to plant your seed garlic root side down with a point facing upwards, and then give them a good covering after you're finished. As always, you want to make sure that you mulch your garlic. In years past, I've used hay or straw, and then I think my first year I used pine needles. So it's really up to you. This year I used a lot of leaf mulch for covering up all of my beds. But giving that mulch is going to give an extra layer of protection. It's going to keep the soil at a higher temp, as well as making sure that there's moisture in the soil. The mulch really helps to keep the water from wicking off and just kind of more of retaining that moisture. And then come around spring, when those plants start to shoot up with their little green sprouts, that's when we're going to start our fertilization schedule, I should say. So every 2 to 4 weeks, once those plants have started sprouting, you're going to add in a nitrogen fixer, a nitrogen fertilizer.
Horses come without a rider, with romance, a locust and blade, forecast brimstone fire. But she not worried for any loss of this April's toils. It's not but a readjustment for the seamstress soil. So keep your eyes on that magic aluminium in the sky. She'll lie your way to garden, and when you get there, raise your head. Work on works of wonder, but listen well what the seamstress says, lest you be planted for summer. think it's time to listen.